Thank you so much to the Marin Community Foundation and to Impact Launch for supporting this equity work in Marin County. I am going to be talking to you about the Anti-Racist Education Project. And this project was designed around supporting students' visions to build on the work they did to pass Novato Unified School District's Anti-Racist Education Resolution by delivering Upstander Train the Trainer curriculum to train staff and students across the district, and purchasing multicultural literature for the independent reading library so that every student sees themselves reflected in the curriculum. Some of the shifts we were able to make for this project included from talking about equity and anti-racism to taking action on equity and anti-racism, from status quo perpetuating inequities to equitable alternatives, both represented in the curriculum and in collective responses to racism, from silence and overwhelm in response to isms to action and community building to dismantle isms and build equitable alternatives, and from curriculum that is white-centered to curriculum that represents the full potential of all students. Some additional accomplishments of the project were that the students trained as trainers formed a community across high schools as they developed their presentations together that they describe as very supportive and a place to build individual and collective power for anti-racism and equitable culture, and that English teachers are creating student surveys to rate multicultural books. Some of what was missing, I think, really impacted by the COVID pandemic and student schedules. It was sometimes difficult to move the work forward. If we had upfront developed a way to incorporate the trainings and the conversations into the school day, meeting students where they're at, I think we could have removed some of the obstacles. What I learned about my leadership, I think, is that leadership rooted in love for the purpose of justice is really powerful and builds community that nurtures a sense of belonging and deep respect. It was clear that the RTL tools work, even if folks participating aren't familiar with them. What would I do differently moving forward? I'll be partnering with the teachers to create ways to meet with the students during school, either in class or on a break. I'm going to leave it there because I think it will be really powerful for you to hear from the students the impact that the training has had on them. So we'll transition to that now. Thank you very much.
We're really interested in getting the youth's perspective on what shifts do you see happening with the training of students and staff on your campus to become Upstanders.
Part of the community we currently belong in, we now have a place as a stronger entity within our community, who are able to show people how to make changes and how to have this culture and shift culture within our community.
A lot of the adults that me as a child and my peers have grown up with, they tend to turn the other cheek in situations that have to do with microaggression, racial oppression, and the other cheek towards those things because of lack of resources or just not really knowing what to do, because as an adult growing up in an area of life where all those things were overlooked, you can't really do anything in that situation where you're put in the spot of trying to fix something you yourself don't even know to address.
You don't have the strategies or the tools.
Yeah, the strategies or the tools is kind of a form of microaggression as well.
Someone who will willingly intervene and will not be afraid of kind of how we talked about earlier, what their friends will think of them. It's really that next step that I think has been the biggest part for me in overcoming is really standing up and not caring what other people are going to think when they're oh, he just said that he's all weird and stuff like that. It's no one really thinks that. It's a preconceived notion that is really held by a lot of people that really withholds them from being an Upstander.